So tonight I'm planning to capture more data on the Needle Galaxy because it's a beautiful clear sky tonight, but I thought it would be kind of a nice night to make a walkthrough video of how I set everything up for a night of imaging, so all the software is needed. So I'm going to be using PHD2, pulse guiding, astrophotography tool, APT to program a sequence of exposures. I'm going to be using astrophotography tool to plate solve as well, plus move the telescope around with EQ mod, ASCOM, and finding targets in Stellarium. So all that I'm going to discuss in this tutorial tonight. This does assume though that you have everything installed on your computer. This is kind of just going to be a live walkthrough before a night of astrophotography, how you get everything set up. And this is the way I do things. It's probably not the best way to do things, but it's the way I do it, so I thought it'd be helpful maybe for some beginners out there to see how everything gets set up for a night of astrophotography. So as you see it right now, this is basically my setup all ready to go. And before I jump on the computer to start showing you how to program your telescope for a night of astrophotography with all the softwares, I just want to start off by saying that my telescope has been sitting here for probably a month now under a very good telescope cover. I do not need to polar align it anymore, so I skipped that step. But just make sure before you go anywhere, just really dial in your polar alignment here on the polar scope. Make sure you're very accurately polar aligned, because that'll result in better guiding, and you can't do anything without polar alignment. So just very well polar align your mount using one of those apps that I have on your phone. Just get on your knees and polar align, then we can start doing things. So now that we are polar aligned and everything's the mount's on, the dust caps are off, and everything's in the home position, now it's time to jump on the computer. And first off, if you're a beginner, in order to make these systems work, you're going to need something called ASCOM. And what ASCOM does is this thing that communicates between your mount, let's say in the computer, between APT and auto guiding, between different softwares, so that they all look similar. Basically something that works behind the scenes to control all your telescope stuff. You can't do without ASCOM. So when I first heard of ASCOM, I was like, ASCOM, what is this thing? It works behind the scenes. Oh no, it's crazy. But really, all you got to do is download it, and that's it. Just download on your computer and make sure you have the cable connected to your mount that goes to your computer or USB hub. Make sure you have those two things, and everything else should kind of flow and work with it. So make sure you get ASCOM and then a cable connecting your mount to the computer. So those two things are very essential. So next, after you have ASCOM and everything installed in your computer, it's important that you have EQ mod, because basically what EQ mod will allow you to do is be able to park your scope and unpark from inside the house, let's say. That's basically all I use it for. There's little arrows that you can control your mount with EQ mod, but all I use it for parking and meridian flips. So those are the few things I use EQ mod for. So the first thing what I'm gonna do is open up EQ mod here. So if you have the toolbox here, right here for EQ mod, and you're setting up all your settings, so you open up the toolbox and you're using your settings, make sure if you get an error that said invalid parameter. I kept getting that error when I was trying to set things up and I couldn't get around it. So I did some research, and it's actually pretty simple. Just make sure your latitude and longitude coordinates are adjusted properly to your location, because I guess mine weren't that perfectly correct or something like that. The software didn't like it. It wouldn't let me get past that stage. So just, if you're having problems that says invalid parameter and won't let you go, check those latitude and longitude coordinates, because that is most likely the reason why you're having problems there. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up EQ ASCOM run. So you just double click on that, and here we are. Now it says here's EQ ASCOM right here, and it currently says that the scope is parked, which is correct. And all you need to do in order to start, you just click unpark. So basically now your mount can be moved around through Stellarium. So the next thing I'm going to do is open up Stellarium. So here's Stellarium. Just double click on Stellarium, and basically what I programmed Stellarium to do is I can go in Stellarium software, find a target, and through the Stellarium software, it'll tell my telescope where to go based on what I plugged in Stellarium in this planetarium website right here. So all you need to do is make sure, though, when you have the setup, you need to just go into the configure tab, configure window. Then you need to go to plugins, and down here you have telescope control. But before you do that, just make sure that these latitude and longitude coordinates, or your position on Earth, is basically the same you did for EQMod. Otherwise you could have problems. So basically just go to, location window and type in your correct latitude and longitude coordinates. So now that I've correctly set my latitude and longitude coordinates, we can just, this is done. So basically you can just get out of this. So basically those are our correct latitude and longitude coordinates from EQMod. We want to make sure those are correct. Then all you need to go is go into this configure tab, then scroll down to telescope control. You should see it down there. And then you just need to click on this configure button. And if you don't have a telescope set up, just go click this plus button right here and go and set up your scope. So make sure if you have ASCOM correctly downloaded on your computer and the mount is connected, like I said, very important, then it should come right up. Your mount option should come right up, and you should be able to just click on that through ASCOM and have Stellarium controlling your mount. So if that's working correctly, then you should have a telescope status appear right here. Then all you need to do is just click the connect button. And then now your telescope is connected to Stellarium. So now Stellarium knows where your telescope's pointed, and you can, through ASCOM and EQMod, you can basically control your mount through Stellarium and go wherever you want to go in the night sky. So now that your telescope's connected right here, you can also connect it through this little button right here. But basically now that your telescope's connected, you're in Stellarium and your telescope's connected. So I just like to turn this constellation icons on here, and you can see right now it says my telescope is the Celestron. It is pointing at Polaris because it is currently polar aligned, so that's where it's supposed to be. At this step, what I like to do is slew over to a star so I can run my focus routine. So the great thing about having EQMod and Stellarium control your mount is you can bypass the hand controller, and you don't need to use it to Starlink. You can skip the whole star alignment process and go right from Stellarium, once you've located your target, into APT to plate solve, which I'll show you next. But right now, all you need to do is go to search window, and I'm just gonna do Arcturus right there. So Arcturus is right there, and I know from experience that's a great star to focus on. So now all I need to do, hold the control key, then press 1. And as you can see, as you can probably hear, my telescope is now slewing over to Arcturus. And now once I have Arcturus in the frame, this very bright star, I can begin focusing. And after I'm done focusing, then we can go back to Stellarium and go to our actual target tonight, which is the needle. And that's pretty cool. You just saw the telescope slew right dead center to Arcturus. So now that we're all focused and everything's set, right now I don't have a batten off max, which makes it really hard to focus. Need to get one of those soon. But now that everything's focused, which is very important, now we can actually go slew to our regular target. So what I'm going to image tonight is going to be the Needle Galaxy. So I already have it in there, C38, which is the needle. Fortunately, the moon's out. It's pretty close to the moon tonight, but we gotta take what we can get. It's a clear night. So all now you need to do is, remember, hold control and then press 1. Then now the telescope should pretty accurately slew to the Needle Galaxy. There you can see, just slewed. So now that we're on our target, we're done with that. The next thing we can do is you can minimize this. And the next thing we can do is, now the telescope's tracking and all that's done, now we can go into Astrophotography tool, APT. Now that we've focused and done all that stuff. Let's open up APT. So now that we're in APT, now we can, we're already connected to the camera, great. So now we're in APT, all we need to do is, let's just take we need to take a frame of our target so that the software can plate solve it. So basically, how plate solving works in APT is you need to download a couple things. You need to download All Sky Plate Solver. Go into the Tools tab here. No, I mean the gear. Point Craft. Settings. And then you'll need to download these two. The test shot is finished, and here we go. It's still real light out, but you can faintly see that Stellarium did a pretty good job of locating the needle galaxy. You can see the needles right there. That's very good for just Stellarium outright locating the galaxy without any help there. So that's pretty good, especially at focal length of 2,000 millimeters. So now that the needle galaxy is in our field of view, all we need to do now is use this. It's going to use this picture to plate solve. All we need to do now is go to Gear, Point Craft, and then we're going to just Objects. You need to make sure you click on this object because you want to select what you're imaging tonight. If you have those things installed, those exterior softwares installed that it needs to plate solve, this should be there. Have to do that correctly too. There's some tutorials online. I'll link those in the description on how to do that. So to make it a lot easier for yourself, there's actually a search icon up here. So just type in the object you want to see, click on search right up here. Then it should highlight it in there. Then you can just click OK to that. So now and then it gives you the approximate RA and deck coordinates for the needle galaxies in the night sky. Then all you need to do is click this solve button. And it's going to be solving. And if everything works correctly, this process shouldn't take too long. Okay, there we go. The image is solved. You can see by that right there. So basically the image is solved, and it knows where it is, and the telescope is pointing in the sky, the software. And all you want to do, if you want to do go to ++ to get the target automatically centered perfectly in the center of your frame. All you need to do is click on Connect Scope, and if you have everything present correctly, it should work. Basically, it's okay. Just connect to the telescope. Now all you need to do is remember, click on Objects again. Okay, it's our needle galaxies there. Then just click on OK, because you want the coordinates here too, as well as over there. So you can do this thing called Go to ++. And when you do that, basically it'll make a series of corrections. It'll send a series of corrections to the mount to center the galaxy perfectly where that dot is right there, so you can get perfect centered accuracy on your target. So now our image has successfully solved, and as you can see, this is the 30-second exposure. The galaxy is dead center. So this is really a game changer for finding targets. You can do it so simply. Now all you need to do is get PhD2 guiding running. So like I said, if you have ASCOM and the cable connecting your mount to the computer, those are two very important things. I'm going to stress a lot. Then you'll be able to do pulse guiding, which is a lot better. You can get rid of the ST4 cable. And it's funny because I used to do use the ST4 cable to guide, and I would guide, the guiding would look good, right? And then I would go to my exposures. The 5-minute subs, the stars would look a little oblong and they wouldn't look totally sharp. I moved to pulse guiding. Every single 5-minute exposure is perfectly round and sharp, and I think it must be because of the change I did. So if you're not using pulse guiding yet, you got to do it. Now let's go into, now you just got to go to connect right here, the green, and basically you can just press connect all. There, everything's connected now. You're all good to go. Simple as that. Push here, dummy, you know. Then you just got to go to loop, and it's going to loop some exposures for you. And as you can see, there's what our stars are looking like right now. So you can see this bright star up there. Press this button, just go along the line, right? And it will auto select a star. So it wants to guide on that star right there. And all you need to do, push here, dummy, and then it will begin the guiding process. So basically it'll calibrate it, and right now it's moving them out in different directions to orient itself. It's just getting ready for guiding. It's getting ready to guide your scope, and hopefully this shouldn't take too long. But while PH2 guiding is getting itself ready, we can go back into APT and we can program our sequence for tonight. So what is our exposure plan for the night? What do we want to capture? How long do you want to capture for? You just go into edit right here, the edit button. Just add new light frames plan. And then you just type in all your exposure. So I'm going to do 5-minute subs. Ooh, the moon is right next to our target tonight. I might bring that down to 180. Yeah, 180-second subs. See how those look, and then I can always change to 5 minutes if I like. Let's do ISO 800 like we usually do. Seems like a sweet spot for my camera. 3-second pause, and then let's just put some crazy number like 300 in there. Make sure you have the quality to raw, and everything else looks good. Just click add as new button. There we go. Now we have our exposure plan laid out for the night. Then all I need to do is click OK. There we go. Now it's ready, and all we need to do is click this big start button right in your face, and that will start everything up. Okay, we're connected to the mount. Plate solved, and we're ready. We're ready to press start once PHG2 guiding is done. It's not done yet, so I'll come back to you when we're ready. So calibration has finished, and we are guiding. It just finished. It took a little longer than I was actually expecting it to, but it's done now. And as of right now, the guiding is looking quite good. It's almost flatlining. Look at those stats a little. Look at the total error. Ah, total error is 0.46. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. Oh, I'm using it. That's why I'm using good arc settings. There we go. So that's a little more accurate representation of what it looks like. But it's not looking bad. Guiding's going. Now that guiding is all set, we can go back into APT, and our galaxy's centered as we saw before. And all we need to do is our plan. So we got 180-second exposures. We're going to take 300 of them. No, ISO 800 we're going to 3-second gap, and we're going to take 300 quality raw. Okay, great. So now all you need to do is just start button, and we are imaging. Now you can go to sleep, wake up in the morning, everything should be good. Make sure that you're all set with meridian flips, because that could be a problem if your telescope runs into something or your cable snags, something like that. Just be aware of that. So I'm going to come back out here probably in about an hour or so and manually do the meridian flip through EQ mod when I see that it needs to be done. But right now I'm just going to go connect the team viewer. I do have a little webcam, so I put that next to my bed so I can watch my setup as I sleep. I hope that this tutorial helped anyone who is kind of getting started with this stuff, or just clear up any issues that you guys might have with just walking you through my whole setup process. I hope it was smooth and it was easy to follow to some extent. If you found this helpful, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. It would really help me out. I'd really appreciate it. And until next time, as always, clear skies.